Riveting content. Empowering your life. Welcome to the Sphere. This episode is sponsored by Houston Housewives of Finance. For more information on increasing your cash flow, becoming your own money manager, and to schedule your complimentary personal finance strategy, contact the Houston Housewives of Finance today at 1-844-700-4463. Looking to advertise? Join the Sphere's vast demographic reach of thousands of people all over the world. Send an email today to advertise@thesphere.tv or call us at area code 832-772-7789. Elite Dental Wellness. At Elite Dental Wellness, Dr. Ashandra Batiste understands that one of the biggest obstacles is dental fear. The vision at Elite Dental Wellness is to ensure every patient is treated with respect, ultimate care, patience, and love. Call us today to make an appointment at area code 713-789-8680.
Welcome back to Injustice on Sphere TV, where we discuss the laws of the land and how they affect you, the people. I'm your host, Brennan Dunn. You can reach me on Twitter at LegalMind. That's mine with a Y because there's always a question to be asked and answered. Joined as always with the intellectually verbose Alicia Ford. How are you, Alicia?
I'm doing well today, Brennan. How are you? Welcome back, everybody, to the Injustice on the Sphere TV. My name is Alicia Ford, and you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Ali on Sphere. And Brennan, is there a person in the studio, wherever we are today?
There is. There's a man with a plan.
All right,
Damon.
I am Da Man.
All right,
and I'm on the show again. How we doing, guys? How we doing out there? You can find me at Laureate Parrish on Twitter as well. Let's rock and roll.
All right, so Damon, we're going to jump right into it. I think you're a football fan, aren't you?
I think I like football.
Alicia, do you watch a little football?
a little bit.
A little bit. We're going to talk a little bit about
What do you mean by a little bit? We're talking about not soccer, but real football. You understand that, right?
A little bit.
All right.
Well, all righty then. We're going to talk a little bit about NCAA football, F-O-O-T.
That's college football, Alicia. College, not the professionals.
I feel like it's not going to be me today. But let's talk about young man. He's the UCF kicker, UCF University of Central Florida kicker. His name is Donald Delahaye. Recently, the NCAA just gave him an ultimatum. He has a YouTube channel that he has about 54,000 subscribers that subscribe to his show, and he's gotten at least 2 million views that he's piled up over the course of 41 videos. Essentially, NCAA is telling him, hey, either quit the YouTube videos or quit the NCAA football team because he is profiting from advertisements from his YouTube page, saying that he is violating NCAA rules for, and I quote, and make it obvious that he's a student athlete. Now, I have a big problem with this because on several different levels. First and foremost, I don't agree that NCAA players should not be getting paid to play.
I agree.
Regardless of what sport they're in.
I absolutely agree with that.
NCAA has been dogged about trying to keep money in their pockets and schools' pockets and out of the players' hands that actually make millions upon millions for them.
It's just modern day slavery. That's all it is.
The second part of this is I have a really, really big issue with the fact that you have a person who's not even doing something on NCAA time. He's got his own entrepreneurship going on with his own separate YouTube page. And I think they said every now and then he'll do a video that relates to him being a kicker at the school, but it's really about his own athletic ability and his ability to do what he does best, and he's profiting off of it. But the fact that he is a football player on an NCAA team and is making money, is violative of NCAA rules. I just am hard pressed to find that connection between the two and understand why the NCAA has to dip their hands into his business when it has essentially nothing to do with them.
It's the same reason why, in my opinion, why they don't pay the athletes. It's about money. They can't monetize what he's doing.
But they shouldn't be able to. If I go, if I'm
be
in
able
college
to,
and I
it
go make
does
an app
different.
on my own time and then get paid millions of dollars for making that app, just because I go to that school doesn't mean that the school should be able to benefit from it. They have nothing to do with that.
I mean, you're correct on that. Should not be able to, and are doing it in two totally different ball games. They should not be able to, but they are. He is using his talent to make money. And NCAA believes they own that talent while it's in their school. While he's getting a scholarship, while he's playing for UCF, they believe they own that talent. The same reason why athletes cannot sign autographs, because they believe they own that talent. And if you're making money off that talent, then they either they make the money and you enjoy the scholarship, or you don't get to make money, period. And I think that's what's going on here.
Alicia, legally, who do you think should be in the right on this one?
Honestly, I believe that the athlete has a right to, I mean, it would be different if he was like, hey, this is my life as a player doing this, and every time you see him like decked out in his uniform or something like that, or you always see like a picture of the field or the team or something like that. But I mean, when you look at today's social media world, people blog, they vlog, or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And vlogging means I'm encompassing and talking about all parts of my life, and this is a part of my life. Mm-hmm. They're just, I mean, if he, in per se, he's not even really making that much money off of it. I mean, you're making money off of YouTube ads. I mean, and it's really not even that, you know, it's so it's not even to say that it's a direct line to the school, but it's more so like, I am making money off of an ad that they put in my video because people watch them. So if nobody watched his videos, he wouldn't even be making any money for them to even be talking about. So, I mean, I think it's, you know, a real stretch for them to say, we're going to dip in your pocket because people like to watch your videos. Because if they didn't like to watch them, they wouldn't have had nothing to say because he wasn't making money. So, and it's his life. I'm documenting my life as it happens. I'm not documenting this NCAA school. I'm documenting, if this is what I do every day because I play football, then I'm going to go ahead and vlog my life if that's what I'm, you know, liking. So I think it's more so that, like you said, I think that's been the big argument for years now, is that the NCAA makes way too much money off of its athletes, and the athletes don't see anything but a scholarship.
Well, and I think one of the big things that highlights in this issue is that the hypocrisy in capitalism, and especially as it relates to the big business versus small business, because unless big business is able to be the most profitable in an endeavor, they don't want anybody dealing with it. I mean, and that's highlighted here. This guy, for all intents and purposes, he is advertising himself and prospectively for the next jump in his career, and whether that be in football or simply in entertainment in general, he is creating a platform by which he can create his own money. And for a college entity to say, hey, you know, we're all about people learning and progressing and doing better, but we don't want you to do it unless we can take a slice of this pie, I think it's complete and utter bullshit.
I think he can probably work his way around this, because I just think it's too far from what they would define as profiting off of it. Like, I think if he were to like try to take this to court, then I don't really see this going in the NCAA's favor, because I don't think it's close enough of a tie for it to be.
I'm gonna disagree with you on that one, only in the sense that we don't know what he signed up for when he accepted whatever scholarship, presumably if he has a scholarship he signed up for. What this comes down to is intellectual property. This comes down to property rights. This comes down to ownership of that talent and ownership of what he's been taught. If by getting a scholarship to UCF, if he is indeed at one, he may have agreed to certain things, like you can't try to monetize what has been shown to you. And if he's on YouTube utilizing what's been taught to him by his coaches at UCF, to kick a ball, to do something, if that's been taught to him, there might be by him some sort of contractual acceptance. Give me a scholarship, and I won't monetize
I don't
what
think
you're doing.
they taught him
I
how to
don't
kick
know.
a ball, because if he had to get there to learn how to
Well, they
kick a
taught him
ball,
how to
he
kick it
wouldn't.
better.
Well,
I mean,
that's what coaching is about.
then it's a distinct line then. So what did you do? Did you improve me, or was I naturally talented?
I'm saying I'm just
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm
I
just
can see
asking,
right. I
yeah.
can see a contractual obligation that may have arisen
and Damon,
if he's
to
on
that-
scholarship, that sort of stuff.
To
I don't
that
know.
point, that when you talk about contract law, you bring in the question then of, was this contract either A, overly broad, or B, unconscionable?
We know the answer to that question. Depending, and I don't want to speak about this young man because I don't think every young man's story is the way the media portrays it to be.
Right.
But if he's there on scholarship and it's a full ride scholarship, he may not be able to go to a different school. That may be his only choice of college. That may have been his best choice of college. It may have been his best scholarship. So they may have got him on that point. I don't know if it quite rises to an unconscionable contract. And for those who don't know what an unconscionable contract is, it's a contract that on its terms is unfair to one party. One party has a larger bargaining position, so they can force you to accept their terms. And because you need whatever they're offering, you just accept whatever they give you, and you're just kind of screwed in the process.
Yeah.
I don't know if it rises to that level because he is potentially getting a free ride at a school, getting a college degree, and I don't think the trade-off of you not selling what we teach you makes it unconscionable as far as us giving you a free ride scholarship. I don't know.
And to that point, I would really like to see Delahaye fight this and see what would happen in court. I mean,
agree.
this could be what opens the door to the real conversation about the NCAA and how far their stretch can go in
Right.
certain aspects. And I'd really like to see where this leads. But speaking
And
of
what exactly they own.
Right.
Do they own the players? Do they own the talent? Do they own the ability to market your jersey without your name? So they have a Texas jersey that says number 5, and we all know that's a Vince Young jersey, but it's not Vince. You don't say Vince Young on it? I don't know.
And, speaking of unconscionability, some unconscionable things have happened in Flint, Michigan, but we are trying to hold their feet to the fire.
Yes.
5 people in leadership positions in Michigan, in the Flint area, have been charged with involuntary manslaughter, which I think is excellent. One of those, the highest ranking of those officials, Nick Lyon, who is the director of Michigan's Department of Health and Human Services, was charged with he was also charged with misconduct in office. He faces up to 20 years in prison based on these charges. But I'm happy to see that things are finally progressing. It's been 2 years now since this Flint issue has really come to light and been hit hard in the public eye. And finally, even though we had reports a year and a half ago that said unequivocally that the Flint officials and Michigan officials turned a blind eye, intentionally did certain things, we're just now getting to the point where somebody's being held accountable on the criminal aspect of this, and I'm happy to see that.
Well, I mean, when you think about it, it is about time. And involuntary, I don't think it's enough. You voluntarily did that. You knew what you was doing. You killed them people when you switched the water
So you
supply.
think that the
I mean,
charge
I know,
is too low?
I do. I mean, you're never going to get there. But, I mean, it's just, the thought of that, children, people, and then you saw that video of the man talking about the fact that the reason why Flint happened is because black people don't pay their bills, and I deal with them, so I know that. We had nothing to do with bad pipes in the water that you choose to use.
Right.
Like, you should honestly be aware and be more cognizant of how you treat people, period. I mean, but it's in Detroit. It's in Michigan.
I'm pretty sure that white people don't pay their bills either. Because I know plenty of white people that
Didn't pay my bill
that
when I
do
was
just
a
like
private
I do
practice.
and look at the phone before they answer to see, do I know this number? I do not. Bill collector.
Or I do know this number and I will not answer it.
Yeah, if it starts with 1-888, then more than likely I'm not going to answer your phone
You
call.
know what? And the problem with that is that I'll let you know that this portion of the show was sponsored by Houston Housewives of Finance. Do you know that only 4 states in the United States offer financial education? 33% or more than 77 million Americans don't pay their bills on time. 39% of Americans carry credit card debt from month to month, and 39% of adults say they don't have enough savings. Don't become one of these statistics. Let the Houston Housewives of Finance advise you on increasing your cash flow and becoming your own money manager by scheduling your complimentary personal financial strategy. Contact Houston Housewives of Finance today at 1-844-700-4463 or email them at info@houstonhousewivesoffinance.com. Ask them how you can participate in a complimentary financial literacy workshop near you. Houston Housewives of Finance are the new faces of the new age of financial services. So these people need to call Houston Housewives of Finance if they're looking at the number and don't want to answer.
Well, not only do they need to call them, but they also need to subscribe on Facebook to the show and make sure that they view on iTunes and give constructive feedback, and make sure they share the live Facebook post of the entire show with family and friends, and donate each and every week. Well, not each and every week, but as much as you can at www.thesphere.tv/donate. Now, speaking of donating, I kind of feel
My turn.
at this one. No. You don't have to. You don't have to help us get these coins.
No.
All right, I appreciate it.
I kind of feel that an Ohio judge and his determination of what should happen to drunk drivers is borderline donating to companies, and here's why. There's an Ohio judge who's created some new creative.
Are we off
sentencing.
Flint now?
Yeah, we're off of Flint.
I just want to add that it was actually 15 people that were in charge altogether. And
15. Well, okay, 15.
That was
but
actually pretty good.
There's 5 that have been charged with involuntary manslaughter.
Which I think is a great charge, because involuntary is a much lower burden as far as mens rea, and easier to meet than intentional.
Very, very well. Municipal Court Judge Michael Cicconetti of Painesville in Northeast Cleveland has ordered convicted drunk drivers to download Uber and Lyft and to enter credit card number on the apps, saying that it is a requirement that if you are convicted of a drunk driving offense or part of your plea deal, that you have to download a ride-hailing app in order to get a ride. He says it doesn't cost anything to install and activate it, and is far cheaper than paying the amount of money that you'd have to pay for an interlocutory device or something else. What my issue is, from a legal, I like what he wants to do on this.
I like it too.
But from a legal standpoint, I'm wondering if the court can order someone to do something that's going to benefit a for-profit organization, like Uber.
Yes.
And I'm kind of on the fence about that, because that
be.
gets that gray area about people making money in politics, which we're going to talk about a little bit later with somebody else. But there's a little bit of an issue with me about that.
I don't understand why there's an issue with you about that. And for DWIs in every state in this country, every county in this country, at a certain point, you have to get an interlock device, a breathalyzer device to put in your car, the device to get the blow in, or a backpack you have to carry. Those cost money. When you get those from a bail bondsman or whatever, you pay a fee. That's just a fee you pay them. That goes in their pocket. That is a fee. Maybe part of it goes to upkeeping and for reporting, but part of it also is profit for that company. So we already pay third-party people, or people charged certain offenses pay third-party people for their benefit. When you're on probation and you pay for drug testing, that $10 per hit, it doesn't cost $10 to test drugs, to test your urine for drugs. That's not what it costs. But to go to probation and pay them, and to make sure that that third-party company gets a cut, you pay $10 a month. Third-party vendors get paid. There's nothing wrong with that. People who drive drunk, nothing wrong with them either. Everybody's done it before, except for you, because you don't drink, because you're a weirdo.
No. I'm a man of God.
You are a man of weirdoness. But
let he who is without sin cast the first stone.
I throw stones because I'm a hypocrite.
Okay. As long as you know.
As long as we know
tennis
that.
elbow.
Yeah, I got it. But all he's saying is download a third-party app and use it in lieu of an interlock device. An interlock device, for some people, could be more expensive. I don't know.
Look, I'd rather you order this person and Uber get how many ever dollars than having how much that family's going to spend because they kill somebody because they didn't download the app. I mean, I could care less that somebody who is driving drunk that got caught has to now call Uber when they're too drunk to drive home and get home safely. Like, I have no, like, even in the swirl of logic of I don't want to give money to a third party like Uber, you're kind of, negating what it's doing, which is trying to keep somebody off of the street that will more than likely drive drunk. Because, when we're talking about everybody's been caught driving, well, not everybody's been caught.
Not everybody's been caught.
But, the people that are caught driving drunk, they are way too intoxicated to even handle the car correctly, to where, we've all, and like you said, we've all done, we just been a little oops. And
that wasn't a confession on my part.
Well, it's a confession on mine.
I used the royal
So
weed,
either
but
way,
not Damon
Lawyer
Parrish
Alicia,
weed.
don't tell your business like that
well,
now.
look, you can be a non-human, and I'll just be regular. So all I'm saying
Just
is
called
that,
angelic.
and all I'm saying is that for that person who doesn't know a limit, who doesn't know when to stop, who doesn't know that I really should not pick up these keys, I'd rather you pick up that phone and put in your location and then let that Uber come get you than be going down for some reason like you've hit somebody, you've killed somebody, you've injured somebody. And that's, I can't really see.
Well,
anything.
and again, I'm not. No one here is including myself, has disagreed with what it encompasses and the intent behind it. I think it's an excellent idea. The only issue that I had was this mixture of a for-profit company now getting the benefits of the criminal justice system.
Well, then let's just choose the underdog and let them have Lyft. Because Lyft needs the help.
God.
If you would,
Well, and black people are supposedly not supposed to be using Uber anymore. My sister got on
Lyft.
me.
I thought it
do
was
use Lyft.
No.
gays can use Lyft.
What?
Uber.
Uber. No. My sister got on me in DC because she was like, blacks ain't supposed to be using Uber anymore.
Why not?
Because
Something or the other, I can't remember. Everybody doing
Is it because the
something.
guy's a Trump supporter?
No, it's more. I can't remember.
Well, then why can't we? Anyway,
So if I don't know
black
what
people
I
can
can't
never remember why we're supposed to be.
but we know we don't do it. If you're drunk, we
To
tell
this
you
day,
right
we still
now.
not supposed to wear Tommy Hilfiger.
Yeah, I know, because he said black jeans
Which
were
wasn't
made for
even
black
true,
women.
but,
yeah, but it worked for me. I stopped wearing them.
True.
But here's the thing: if right now we tell people, criminal or not, charged or not, if you're intoxicated, get a cab. Take a taxi cab. We tell them to go call a yellow cab to benefit a third party, really not to benefit the third party, but to benefit
them,
society
yeah.
and to keep this drunk driver off the road. If you are drunk, call a third party. So I got no problem with him saying, and I don't know if he's saying when you can't drink, pick up phone and use Lyft and Uber, or just in general from this point forward, you can only get around using Lyft and Uber. I don't know if that's what he's saying.
So,
but
this brings up another.
I'm fine with that.
This brings up another question I want to ask. And as you were talking, I came up with it because I'm just like that.
Because you weren't listening.
No, well, very little do you say something that I care to hear.
Say it because
But
I wasn't listening.
Now,
all right.
Okay.
So restaurants and bars, if someone leaves your premises too drunk, they can be held liable either civilly or criminally for letting you leave that drunk.
It's called the Dram Shop Act.
The Dram Shop Act. Should restaurants and bars be required to have like a breathalyzer thing before you leave out?
No.
To see if you are at that limit, and if you are at that limit, be mandated to call an Uber or
No.
Lyft for you. Well,
I'm
why not?
not going to sit
no, I'm
here
not gonna-
and do the
Seriously.
police. What?
Also, I'm not going to use.
Why not?
I'm not going to. First of all, to use a breathalyzer device, you have to put your mouth on it.
Or,
I'm not
they
going
have
to put
certain
my
things
mouth
where you
on some
can-
device where every stranger who walks in and out is going to blow in it.
Everybody,
Screw that.
10,000 people use the hookahs.
Disgusting.
All you do is take a sleeve, put
But
on
they
a new.
okay. If you use a hookah, they give you a temporary
So
sleeve
surely
to
they
use.
can do that for
Yeah.
I
a
mean,
I
when
breathalyzer.
you
don't
think
know. What if
about
they
when you
don't?
think
No.
about the Dram Shop Act, it's for somebody that they know good and well
Right.
shouldn't have been leaving.
90% of the people leaving bars,
you-
they should not be leaving and
What
getting
if
into
they're
a car.
That's not
what if
true.
they're leaving and walking down the street to their house? Then they can't walk to their house because wait, where are you going? So you
Preach.
really don't know what
Preach.
they're doing. So
Preach.
it's for those
She's got a
that
point there.
actually
Shut
are
up,
like
alcoholic.
physically like inebriated, where
She got a point.
they're stumbling, where they're like cut them off and they kept serving to them.
But don't
That's
you
totally
think? But don't you
different.
think that we would cut down severely on the number of drunk drivers if restaurants and bars took a more active role in this?
We would cut down
You just
severely.
got
No.
through talking. Hold
we
on
would
now.
just cut down
The two
severely
of
on
you
that bar
just
making a
got
profit
through-
because
listen,
nobody
what
would
I'm
go
saying.
there.
I'm gonna let y'all talk there.
Good,
Go
because
ahead.
you asked the
Yes.
question. The answer
Well, I haven't
is-
asked the whole
you
question
said,
yet.
don't you think it would cut down severely if restaurants
But
and
you
bars
haven't
took
let
more
me finish
ownership?
it.
It's a-
Both
it's a-
of you have
addition to
just
this?
got through talking about how much it is effective for this judge because it's about protecting society at large. How is it not the equivalent in this situation with making restaurants and bars go a step further to ensure that society at large isn't endangered by you two?
Can I answer your question?
I'm finished.
Okay, I'm gonna answer your question now. Here's the difference. This judge is dealing with people charged with a crime. They have been charged. They've been stopped by law enforcement. Law enforcement investigated, administered field sobriety tests, perhaps had some sort of breath analyzer or blood BAC level, and came up with a scientific or pseudoscientific BAC level to say you're intoxicated. Totally different than you walking out from a bar and the bar is saying, before we let you step outside, blowing this device to our satisfaction that you're not intoxicated.
The same device is the same one that the cops use.
Because here's the thing, those cops also have to certify that device. It has to be clean.
There's nothing that you're saying that a restaurant can't do.
Chill out.
There's nothing
it
that
has
you're
to be
saying that-
clean, processed regularly, maintained regularly.
All things that a restaurant can do.
You think Chewy's and McDonald's or any of the bar is gonna daily process it? You're talking about cops.
They have to
you're
daily
talking
clean.
about-
Why wouldn't they?
Calm down, bro. You're talking. Say it.
You're
Don't
pissing
say
me
it.
off.
I know. You're talking about cops a machine that may meet 100 people a day, maybe at its best will meet 100 people a day for cops. Now multiply that by 1,000 per day at a restaurant. Not the same thing.
So you're saying that the machines just aren't good enough.
I'm saying what you're saying isn't feasible and it doesn't
You're
make
putting
sense.
it first of all. I mean,
that's a terrible argument.
Let's just
No,
be real. If it was
your
gonna
logic
work,
is
somebody
awful.
would have did it already. It's not gonna work.
You know how many
It's-
things that could have been done that haven't been done yet simply because nobody's put forth the effort to either A, think about it or push it through on legislation?
Because they knew it was stupid.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Exactly.
Says,
I
says the
think-
people that drink. Y'all just don't want to be held to the fire
No,
every time you go to a bar.
No,
Which
if
I were you, I wouldn't want
I
to
don't
either.
mind that, but I'm telling you, it's not feasible. It won't.
To have a machine
won't
that
work.
works.
I get home
It won't.
safely
First of all,
in
do
a
you know how
Uber.
the machine works? You don't even know how it works to say it works. Just put one there and you're blowing it. You have to at least understand the science of the machine before you can start putting one in every bar and saying everybody
You act
jump
like
in on it.
you can't be educated on it as a business.
So are you ready to pay that cost for them to have? You ready to have that
To
cost?
have
Hold on.
society,
Are
as
you
you
ready to
said-
incur that cost of who knows how much to have X number of machines there and X number of techs there and X number of people there for the off chance that to test every person that walks in and out of that establishment?
You're making it sound like so
blow.
much more than it has to be. You have one
You don't
person.
understand the
Well,
logic.
you know what?
understand.
I would like
I
you to
understand
start
the
a
logic.
restaurant then and
idea,
you
and
do
you
it.
don't understand the details.
I
of it.
understand the
You
details
don't
because I
understand
deal with this. You
can't
and I
understand
both deal with
but you
breathalyzers
don't do DWI
on a
cases,
daily-
and I do, or I did.
I
at
don't
least.
do DWI cases?
Man, so then you should
Come on
understand
now.
the science of what's going on. You should
Why-
understand
no,
what
no,
goes
the
I
on.
science
guess.
is-
Wait
the
a minute,
science
guys.
about it.
So can we understand that you guys will never agree and
No.
move on to the next subject?
No,
Don't you
because
hate it
we
when
can-
people get in between
Right.
our fights?
Like,
I
like,
just
how dare
don't
she?
get
I mean,
this.
Because
like,
we can turn on you.
I mean, and I don't care. I'd rather you turn to another subject because y'all will never agree.
I mean, that's true though. But
Yeah, I mean,
but we can
just-
turn on you
just-
though.
Okay, great. I'm here, ready. Whatevs. Lau, what were we talking
Whatevs.
about? You know,
Well, we were talking about
Yeah.
the law
confused now.
and analysis, but I guess
a legal
Alicia
discussion.
doesn't want to.
no, y'all were fighting about who does
analysis.
DWI. I know I do a DWI. No,
But,
you do a
uh,
DWI. No, that's what you got to. You didn't. You got off the law at that point.
I don't like the tone that
I don't
you're
like that
taking
either. Who is
with
she?
us
Gosh.
at all.
What is a
you
discussion?
know what?
We're having a discussion. I don't get it.
I'm so
No,
irritated.
y'all were just like throwing around egos on the
Alicia,
table when I was
Alicia,
getting hit.
calm down, Alicia. Just calm down because this portion of the show is sponsored by The Sphere. Are you starting your business and looking for a place to advertise? Do you have a need to reach out to thousands of people across the world to build your brand or sell your product? If so, get your product placement and advertising needs handled right here at The Sphere. We offer a wide variety of content delivery platforms, including iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, YouTube, and Stitcher. Plus, we have a vast demographic reach within the United States as well as modern countries across the globe. Our enriched content and inspiring dialogue coupled with your strategic ad is surely to hit the mark every time. Call us today at area code 832-772-7789 or send an email over to advertise@thesphere.tv.
What
Now,
they say.
before
Get
Alicia
money.
rudely interrupted us, I was going to
Who is
move on to Donald Trump. And I guess it's appropriate. Alicia, Donald Trump.
Can we
all
move on,
stressful,
Alicia?
things.
Donald Trump.
So, Donald Trump,
You have my permission.
we
good.
appreciate that.
No problem.
Hell hath no fury.
It's about to be a what? Alicia fight.
Well, And it's also about to be a fight between Donald Trump and the U.S. government at this point. The attorney generals of Maryland and Washington, D.C. filed suit against Donald Trump for what they consider to be violations of the Emoluments Clause of the Constitution. Simply put, that means that they believe that because Donald Trump still holds business interests and still holds ownership in those business interests,
he can't
that
benefit from his side hustles.
Go ahead and finish, Alicia.
He can't benefit from side hustles. Like, as a president, you can't benefit. Your side business can't benefit from the fact that you are president, which gives you an unfair advantage.
Well, it's not a side business. These are his companies.
Yeah.
Saying that they're
point,
so inextricably intertwined with his presidency that there's no way to separate. Is he making money and profiting by being president? Off of the businesses, because there's no difference.
People would just realize that this man don't care about not one American other than the ones on the dollars that go in his bank account. Like, that's it. He doesn't care about anybody. He's really excited about making more money for his businesses, and he's using this as a platform to make more money for his businesses. That's it. Like, he don't care about the American people. I mean, I wish they'd see that, but they won't. So
I can't say I agree with you on that. I think he does care about the American people. I just don't think he cares about all the American people and the people trying to become American people.
Or he doesn't care about people the way you want him to.
He doesn't even care about his base. So
that's not true, because just recently
he plays to his base.
Well,
but
don't
that doesn't
all
mean
politicians
you care about
play to their base?
He panders to them. He panders to them for sure. But I think he cares about them. And because his base is pretty much white men, and he's a white man.
Okay.
And it's white women. He only marries white women.
And
I think I'm not trying to defend Trump here.
Sure.
I'm just saying, and to your point,
you really believe that he's such a great guy. Got it.
Well, I hate to defend Trump on this.
Hold on now.
I hate to defend Trump, but he just recently with this healthcare bill has told the Senate, hey, look, the House didn't do enough to spend more money in certain aspects on poor people and certain people that need healthcare provisions within the bill, even though before he lauded it as the greatest, yada, yada, yada. That's what he does.
That's what he does.
But I think that once people actually got into his ear and said, this is shitty, he's told the Senate, hey, Senate, we need to find more money for this other demographic. So to say that he doesn't care at all, I hate it. It doesn't even taste right coming out of my mouth, but I disagree with you in that particular instance.
Okay, well, we'll just disagree, because I don't think he would have done anything with that. He would have said anything with the Senate if people were goddamn rioting at their own town halls about the fact that the health care is pure shit. That's why he did anything, because their own state representatives weren't going to the town halls for the people because of the health care bills, because people were mad. So then they're like, look, you want a freaking civil war behind this?
Well, at least he's smart enough to hear them.
And not that far, but I'm just saying, like, let's not act like he's just doing, like he really just said, you know what, I reviewed this, because he don't review none but he don't even review his tweets because of Covfefe. But at the same time, he did not do this out of an interest for the American people. I mean, I get it, maybe it is a grand blanket, and maybe I'm making a grand statement or just a blanket statement on the fact that he doesn't care about American people. They are generally not in his top priority, other than to maintain what he's doing now, which is being the president of the United States, because when he's not the president of the United States, he's still going to use that as a selling and bargaining tool in his businesses. I mean, I'm just,
absolutely.
y'all can,
but what's the difference between him and every other
Yeah.
politician? I mean, you have described every politician.
Well,
they pander to their base.
And
You really have.
every politician does pander to their base, but I have never seen this much, this level of actual, like, nonchalance towards the average American person, and only sitting there and promoting big business. Now, I'm not saying he's a Republican, so I'm not sitting here having some grand hope that he's gonna start giving out money and fixing social ills. No. I believe that I've never been truly upset about a conservative being in office. Like, when a conservative comes in office, I know what are they going to try to do. They're going to try to promote big business. What they're going to try to do, cut back on limited government. Yeah, those are my expectations. What he has done here, I really just don't have.
He hasn't done anything.
I was just about to
his
say, what has he
presidency has been
actually
really
done?
ineffectual, and that's one thing I want to get out about Trump himself. people say impeach him. That is dangerous. I know we're not talking about that, but that is dangerous because Mike Pence is an effective politician and leader. Hold on.
No.
Trump in president right now hasn't really done anything but tweets and be mocked and scorned and joked about. I say leave him in because he's not doing anything. But I think he does care. He doesn't care for his base like you want him to. But Republicans are about. They're not about the individual person. They're about corporations. They believe in trickle-down economics. So, yeah, he's going to pump more into corporations.
But we know trickle-down economics doesn't work.
But aside from actually appointing billionaires to his cabinet, Alicia, point to me something that he has effectively done to damage poor people right now.
Pass the health care bill in the House.
The same bill that I just got through saying that
he only addressed because people were outraged.
Doesn't matter when he addressed it. He still.
Or it don't matter why he addressed it.
Well, he addressed it because people said, "Hey, this doesn't work for us," and he said, "I hear you, Senate. This doesn't work for you." So
I get it. I get it. Anything out of my mouth about this is going to be wrong. So y'all can go ahead and take it. I'm done. I'm not even gonna fight about it. Like, go. Gotta just have it.
I'm
like,
defeated.
have it.
Huh?
I hang my head. I have to hang my head in defeat on that one. I understand.
Like,
so to get back to the
I'm okay with winning that.
I won from the get go. I wasn't worried about winning. I don't like acquiesce. But to get back to the thing about him being sued, I don't. This lawsuit to me seems kind of frivolous. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't.
So
know,
you don't think that there's such an intertwining of policy with money that it looks real shady right now.
My understanding is their chief complaint is that it's his properties, it's his hotels that people are staying in, and he's staying in while president that benefit him to no one else. It is not so much.
Well, there have been private
else.
suits from private business owners that have said that direct thing,
which I'm fine with. I just think, and I think for the AGs of cities and governments to go into this because of the little thing about hotels.
Well, it's not just his hotels. These are his business holdings overseas.
It to me just seems like this is like I'm not for Trump, but to me it just seems like this is another example of people just rallying against him every which way they can, in every which way they can, in small ways that are kind of like, okay, is that it? Okay, if this same suit had been lodged against Obama, we would feel differently. I just think like, okay, now maybe as this develops more, and if it truly rises to this level, then absolutely. Is this a state action that should be sponsored by a state government? No. Private citizens? Yes. State government? No.
So I don't know if he's done this or not. Maybe one of you two can answer this question, but obviously I feel like a blind trust would be something that would be worthwhile for him at this point. To separate himself. I don't know if has he done that.
I don't know, and I don't even know if a blind trust is actually something he can do in this situation. I don't practice business law, so I don't know. I get Alicia, you practice. That's your area, right?
But what I would tell you about the practices is that this portion of the show is sponsored by Elite Dental Wellness. At Elite Dental Wellness, our vision is to create a welcoming practice that will offer an exceptional dental care and a lifetime of dental wellness. We are committed to the finest possible oral care and overall health and well-being of our patients. Elite Dental Wellness is built upon the foundation of integrity, expertise, and service. Through our commitment to modern dentistry, continuing education, and friendly atmosphere, we strive to make our patients feel that they are part of our family. Dentistry can be scary, daunting, and uncomfortable. Dr. Batiste and her team work tirelessly to ensure your comfort. Make your appointment today with Dr. Chandra Batiste at Elite Dental Wellness at 713-789-8680.
You know, all jokes aside, I think I've actually been there before.
Really?
I actually think so, because I was reading. I didn't really follow what you were saying. I was kind of making fun of it, but then I recognized the logo. And I was like, that looks kind of familiar. And it was like Westheimer. And I was like, oh, shit, I think I should be in there. Actually, pretty good place.
So, Alicia, did you read that off for coins or to divert the question that was asked?
What are you talking about?
Well, Damon asked the question.
What? I don't listen half the time to him. So what happened?
That's just rude.
I'm still trying to catch up. I'm trying to catch up because I fell behind. So what happened? What happened, dears? What am I supposed to be doing?
We started talking about Jeff Sessions.
Yeah,
okay.
we did.
The Attorney General of the United States.
By the way, I love his middle name.
Let me finish.
Beauregard.
Hold on a second.
Jeff Beauregard Sessions.
Attorney General Jeff Sessions. Thank you, Damon. Was just in a committee hearing, Senate committee hearing, Tuesday. They were inquiring about both the Comey hearing from last week as well as Attorney General Sessions' involvement, if any, with Russia during the elections. During this hotbed of questions, the Attorney General a number of times said that he couldn't get into certain issues. He didn't recall or recollect a lot of what they asked him about. He even went so far as to say that he was not going to talk on certain conversations with the president because of executive immunity. Now, you might say, oh, well, executive immunity sounds good. But the interesting thing about this is that he wasn't asserting executive immunity for himself. He was asserting it for Donald Trump.
I was like, isn't that
who has to assert it himself?
That's what I was like. How could you?
If this ain't the good old boy system where they all get together and make sure that none of us, if one of us goes down, we all go down.
I think this will be a show to watch. I mean, now it's going to be a long show to watch, but it'll be a show to watch, I believe. I mean, I don't know what they did. I don't know who they got involved with. I know somebody knows something they're not telling, and that's all. That's at base what we do know. Somebody knows something and they not telling it.
You know, I watched a little bit of Jeff Sessions, and I was serious. I like his middle name, Beauregard. I think I might name, if I have a son, his middle name might be Beauregard. I watched a little bit of Jeff Sessions.
You said if you have a son, you do have a son, Damon.
Well,
I want people to know that you don't forget that you do have a son out in this world.
No, I have a wife, and she may or may not one day get pregnant.
But
again,
you just said
if
I have a son. Again.
But like I'm trying to understand how this comes right back around to what you were talking about.
Alicia, you're just
on
evil today. Just evil. I don't understand.
Have you seen yourself
somebody
recently?
get her some water.
I'm just
Make
trying
it
to get
holy.
people on topic so that you don't get the listeners too far offhand.
I think, but she's not drinking it. She's thirsty.
God. Thirsty for this information. You're
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
You're right.
Thirsty.
Thirsty for this information.
Thirsty.
Can you
I got
please
you. It's
tell
all right.
them?
Well, then
So-
take a swallow of information,
Right, swallow it
and we are going to
Pour it up,
talk
pour it
about
up.
the fact that I think Jeff Sessions is
So
going to
here's
put
what I was gonna
himself
say.
into trouble.
Jeff started off his presentation with a statement that he has served the country, and he has served the country now, and not in the way that I like, not in the way that I support, but in his own way that he believes is best. He has served the country, and to now be accused of being a Russian spy is it effing awful. And he didn't cuss, but he said something awful, it's something stupid, and it makes him mad. And I felt his passion with that. I think it would suck to have served the country in whatever capacity I think I can to the best of my ability, and then one day be called a Russian spy or a tool for the Russian government. That being said, I felt his passion on that. I don't know if it's quite enough out there to say he colluded with Russians to rig the election. I don't know if there is, and it certainly doesn't appear to me like it is. I find it interesting that he invoked a privilege that's not his, and as top lawyer of this country, I think he knows he can't invoke a privilege that's not his, and we should be thankful because what he has done by invoking a privilege that's not his is now shifted it from him to President Trump, which invites more discussion on what exactly is President Trump hiding, and invites more discussion as to what's going on. So why we might be upset that he is invoking his privilege, we should be thankful. And another tip, I was very excited to see that I all of a sudden I forgot that senator's name that was grilling him, but she did. Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
Got on him so good, the man was flustered.
Well,
and he's like, I can't answer your questions. I'm real confused, and I'm
He
sorry.
said, you're coming at me too fast.
You coming too hard. I don't know what to do here. It was so bad. Apparently, John McCain had to walk over to her and tell her to just chill out, and she looked at him like, I just have to chill out, you old man. So what I got from it more or less wasn't what he said, but what she said in her presentation and her power, and it was just really good to see a strong black woman grill the crap out this man to the point where he was on his political knees.
Fair enough. There's a question I want to pose to the two of you, and it's going to cover a number of different articles. This question is, should parents have to be certified to be parents before they can parent?
No.
And to get to that argument, there are a couple of different, like I said, a couple of different articles that highlight why I asked this question. The first one is over in Chicago, a Cook County judge sentenced a 55-year-old Helen Ford to life in prison for torturing and strangling a girl to death in 2013.
Her last name was Ford.
Hold on, let me finish. Torturing and strangling a girl to death in 2013. The girl was actually her granddaughter. She had been tied to a post, beaten head to toe, whipped with a belt, forced to stand or squat for hours, and denied food or water. She ended up writing, the 8-year-old little girl ended up writing a diary, and she said, "I hate this life." So she almost like an 8-year-old suicide note. Terrible, terrible situation. Then we go over to another instance where a Pennsylvania man was convicted sexually assaulting 6 young sisters who were basically gifted to him for financial support by their parents. He received, it was 17 charges, including child rape, statutory sex assault, and a number of other charges. He will spend the rest of his life in jail over this gifting by the parents of their children to him. The third one I want to talk about is in Harris County in Houston, Texas, where a 1-year-old baby was dropped off at the fire station and abandoned by parents. We've all heard that before, but this one made news, and it highlights again parents not being ready to be parents. And these other two highlight parents who should have never been parents in the first place.
No, and that's just no. You can't put a government stamp on a right that belongs to people, a right given by God. That right existed before this government, and that will exist after this government.
What do you mean you can't put a stamp? Explain that.
I say it's like this. I don't want the government coming in and telling me I'm not qualified to have a child. Who the fuck are they to tell me that? Now you are literally pointing out
what is the certificate? Like, can you please bring this certification paper? Why don't you draft this certification paper so we can see what the contents would be? Because I'd love to know, how are you certifying somebody to be a parent when you don't even know? It's like saying, well, what are you going to do when somebody puts your gun to your head? I don't know until it happens. You don't know what type of parent you're going to be until it happens. Sometimes people with the best of intentions to be great parents end up being awful parents. Sometimes people who never wanted children are the best parents in the world, but they might have been certified out because they said 2 times before in 1999, I don't never want kids, and they stupid. So there's no way to quantify or qualify something that is so esoteric, and it's like out in the netherworld. You can't really say what makes a good parent because we're imperfect humans.
So to answer your question, the first question was, can you write something down? No, I will not.
Okay.
Because I'm not a legislator.
Okay.
And I've been paid to do so.
All right.
The next point, you say, well, what does it look like? There's a couple of different answers to that question. First one is in family law, at least in the state of Texas, they actually have parenting classes that are taken for parents who have gotten themselves in sticky situations with CPS or with the Department of Family and Protective Services, where they have to complete certain parenting classes before the government will actually let them have their child back. So it's not a newfound idea for something to be put in place that teaches people, at least to some degree, how to be better at what they do. The other part of that is it doesn't necessarily have to be something where you have to qualify, but I do think that people should be educated on certain standards of how to be a parent or what happens in certain situations. So hold on, you wanted an answer. So I think that one, psychological evaluations might be in order for people, just to say, do you have the baseline level of whatever? Because it's been talked about, even with getting guns and gun control, that people should have to take psychological evaluations beforehand. Now that may not necessarily be it, but at the very least, educational certification to say you have
passed with an A on being a parent.
You have actually been told or learned that in certain situations, how do I bathe a child? Whatever goes into the fundamentals of being a parent that some of these people seem to lack, to say at the very least, you have put forth an effort. Now that you know that what kind of effort goes into being a parent, you can go ahead with it. I don't know if I don't have the perfect solution for you right now because I haven't sat down and gotten with a group to do this, but it's not a far-fetched idea for people to have to be.
There are outliers in everything. You are sitting here taking the worst of the worst and equating it to every single other person in the world. Like, if I went in and said, you know what, I want to be a ballet dancer, I may be the worst ballet dancer, and then what if they just used me as the example? They said, you know what, no, she's supposed to go ahead and swim 10 times a day. And now every other person who practices ballet has to now swim 10 times a day because they use me as the example who sucks at it. Like, you can't really say that because these are bad apples. This is like the 0.123% of the people who are, I mean, first of all, you're parenting a whole nother person with a whole nother mind of its own. So nothing is going to prepare you for how another human being is going to interact with what you are asking them to do, regardless of what you say.
That also, nothing you propose would have weeded out these people. These people did this. They could have passed any medium fundamental test whatsoever. This is sadistic. That level of sadism is intentional. It's knowing, and it's sophisticated enough to beat any government standardized test. That test wouldn't have stopped them. I'm with Alicia 100%. You can't teach people how to be parents. All right, children behave differently. I've got 3 myself, and they all are different, and they all respond to life differently. The best thing I've told anybody, a new parent, is be patient and get as much sleep as possible because you're about to lose it. And that's it. And you roll with the punches of life. No test can do that. No class can prepare you. Equating a CPS situation where your right has been taken away to a want to have a child situation is not the same thing. It is not. In one case, there is some sort of documented proof that you were seriously failing this child in some respect, but there's potential to get it back. In another case, we don't know anything about you, but we're just assuming you don't know what the hell you're doing, so we want to qualify you to make sure. My next point to you is, or question for you is, suppose, for instance, I don't take your qualification exam. My wife gets pregnant and we don't take your exam. Then what? When she gives birth, will the government take our child away until we pass the test? That seems a extreme, enormous overreach of the government. It seems completely completely unconstitutional. I hear what you're saying and wanting to protect children, and who has any harm against wanting to protect kids, but having 3 examples nationwide in comparison to the millions and millions of parents in this country don't punish good parents like myself, and I don't know if Alicia's a parent or not.
No, I'm not.
Okay. But don't punish good parents for the actions of some really, really sadistic bad seeds. I do not think there should be any kind of qualification or a test. Everybody's presumed a good parent. You make the best choices you can. If you mess up, we have things in place to step in and help that. But I do not think so. And then also, this will probably only be applied to your test to minorities and poor people anyways, effectively meaning that people who are minority or economically disenfranchised will not be able to have kids.
All right. To respond, I'll try to respond. You both said a lot while I listened patiently. I hope you do the same.
Did you listen or wait to
I
respond?
guess we started off on the wrong foot just
yes,
now.
Yes, I want to make sure. Yes.
Shut up for just a second,
All right.
so I can respond. All right. So first and foremost, I think something was said that this is just the few and not the many, because we have, and I think Damon said we have 3 cases that have been highlighted, and Alicia gave the 1.2 whatever percent of people. First of all, I think those numbers are highly skewed from your perspective. One, there's a lot more going on in CPS and DFPS cases than I think either one of you are actually aware of. The CPS they work overtime on these type of cases. So this is not some low level or a small fraction of people that have issues involving endangering a child. On top of that, we both know, or we all know, that just because it hasn't been reported doesn't mean it's not being done. So the same way we talk about rape, and that the rape numbers are completely skewed because a lot of women don't actually go out and report the rape, so the rape numbers are completely off. You can equate that to what's happening to a lot of these children in homes where they aren't getting the best of care because no one has actually gone out or no one knows about what's going on in these individual homes. So that's to that point about how big or how small the problem is. And I think that if this reaches at even 10 to 15% of children that are out there right now, I think that's enough of a number to justify putting something in place. Now, You also talked about, Damon, the issue of, well, it's a God-given, it's a fundamental right to be able to have children, or constitutional right. It's also a constitutional right to bear arms, and yet and still you have to go through certain things. Hold on,
I said God-given, not constitutional.
Well, you also said constitutional. You said you have a constitutional right to do it now,
and God-given.
Okay, now, as far as a constitutional right is concerned, you do have a constitutional right to have children. If you have a constitutional right to bear arms and still get certified in order to do that, there's no difference to me in the theory, at least, of putting in a certification or something in place to assist people with the thought process of what is it going to take to be a parent. Now, you also talked about the issue of, well, every child is different. And the psych. Oh, first I want to go to the psychology of it. You said, well, these people are sadistic and they would pass a test. Wholeheartedly disagree with that. Unless you have to be pretty damn smart to pass these psychological tests evaluated by psychologists and psychiatrists. By psychologists and psychiatrists. I don't think that these people. So y'all,
that is not true.
Can y'all let me finish? Because I gave you all the time in the world to talk. These people are not the type of people. Most of these people, like you said, poor people, or these aren't the educated people that are going to be savvy enough to get through. If you're that sadistic, there are certain points that are going to be triggered when they talk to somebody about situations. And again, this isn't about telling a parent that you can't be a parent. This is about preparing them to be a parent. It's not going to help in every situation. No system is going to help in every situation, but there are certain things that you can do to alleviate, at the very least, some of the things that happen. And that's all I'm saying about it.
So to jump in, first of all, I work in the mental health profession. I have plenty of clients that can beat any government test, and that is, without what you just said right there, is completely wrong. And to me, it's example of someone who actually is not working in the system or does not actually deal with this.
Well, we have a fundamental disagreement on that.
Okay, two, you have made up data and said that, oh, we all know that it's larger than that. That's an assumption on your part. That's an assumption that parents out there don't know what they're doing and need help. It's an assumption.
It's
on
not
your
an
part.
assumption. It's here. It's right in front of you. That's not an assumption.
It's
Damon.
an assumption on your part that it goes on.
I just think even
you
to the
blowing
point,
it up out of
even to
proportion.
the
You're
point
taking a
of
little
your,
bit and making it larger, and I disagree with you.
Okay, let's just stop and get to the root of it. Even if you institute this test, people are going to find a way to
not test.
Test, certification, mandate, whatever you want to call it. Whatever it is that you got to fill out, bubble, chalk in, write, erase. Somebody's going to figure out a way to beat the system and pass that around.
Alicia, it's
to
not about beating.
else.
It's not about beating a system.
But you're not. But then what about an invasion of your privacy rights?
When you talk about
you gonna give me a mental health
when
test.
you talk about somebody going through a certification with CPS, they don't have to sit there and take a test every time to say, okay, circle A, B, or C.
CPS is here because there has been a proven.
They take a parenting class.
But there is neglect that has been shown. You are going off the supposed thought that sometime in the future, of something that may never happen in life, but you need to be prepared for that.
Why do you think they created home ec classes and those things of the like? Because they felt like, it would be a good idea for people to have at least some kind of cursory knowledge
of how to cook, because
how to have a family household.
Home ec was cooking, sewing, and basically knowing how to clean up your house, because those are
true. They also had parenting issues.
Home ec wasn't required to graduate high school.
It wasn't required, but it
was optional to take. Just like right now, you become a parent, you get married, and your wife is pregnant, you can seek all the knowledge you want from anybody you want. Literature, books, doctors, the government. Anybody will help you, but nobody will force it upon you.
Then let's let people just go out here and be dumb parents and do it like that.
I don't think we have to look at it as letting anybody be a dumb parent, but let's just understand that the people out there should probably tell Brennan that he's absolutely wrong in this thought, and you tell him how to reach you.
First of all, you can't tell them how to what to tell me.
Tell them how to reach you.
They might be saying, you know what, Brennan?
Tell them how to reach you
about what's going on.
and to tell you that you're wrong.
No, I'm gonna tell them to write in and say, Brennan, right on, Alicia, off.
Okay.
Damon,
right on, Alicia off. I don't.
That's right.
I don't know what that means right there.
You don't have to, but my viewers know, and my viewers also know that you can reach me at Twitter.
Their viewers already took the test.
They can also know that they can reach me on Twitter. Be quiet, Damon.
No,
I'm never bringing you on this damn show again.
That's a lie.
Shit.
That's
You
a
making
lot.
me you making me feel like Alicia right now. I just want to
Look at these elite dental teeth here as I smile. It's beautiful.
I got a shiver.
Why are we here
That was
today?
scary. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed the show. This is our time here on Injustice on the Sphere.tv. Hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to watch. We have Facebook Live where you can watch the first 15 or 20 minutes of the show. View us on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, or Stitcher, or go to www.thesphere.tv. We are everywhere that you want us to be. My name is Brennan Dunn. I'm your host. You can reach me on Twitter at LegalMind. That's mine with a Y, because there's always a question to be asked and answered. Alicia?
You can reach me on Twitter and Instagram at Allie on Sphere. And Damon, where can they reach you?
At Twitter, at Lawyer Parrish.
No. We didn't want
What
to
is
do
wrong? Let's not be
Brendan's
rude
in
in
a
the
bad mood
closing to
today.
the
I don't
guest.
know.
He's
He's in a
made
bad
my ass
mood.
itch.
You
Anyways,
have
that's
to
between
be
you
an
and your dirty ass,
example.
all right? Soap
Be
and
a
water will fix
leader.
that.
Did Alicia really just get serious faced with me?
She really
Be a
did.
leader.
Be an example.
Be an example.
Yes.
Test to be a man.
You be here next week.
Be all you can
That's
be.
our time.
Thanks.
And watch on the Sphere.
All right, producer, you can shut us off now.
Peace out.
Bye. Have a good week.